5.
1, 2, 3, 4. Notes. Okay.
Okay, so the purpose of this speech is to bring awareness to Asperger's syndrome and give you a few reasons why it can be so hard to detect. Did you know that somebody in your family or even your children can be struggling with this disorder and you not even know it? I'm going to explain to you 3 important reasons why Asperger's is also known as the invisible disease. The first reason that Asperger's can be known as the invisible disease is the fact that individuals with Asperger's often are employed in various occupations. The next reason is the fact that it can often be misdiagnosed with other psychiatric disorders. And the third reason is that individuals with Asperger's syndrome tend to show high levels of intelligence. The information that I'm going to give you today comes mostly from scholarly resources that I got off of my institution's library database. So as I mentioned earlier, individuals with Asperger's are employed in many different occupations. When people think Asperger's, they automatically think autism. But the fact is, these individuals hold jobs that are often considered too complex for somebody with autism, such as creative arts, finance, or even the military. Individuals with autism tend to be honest, consistent, and precise. They don't really get involved in the workplace drama and gossip, and they don't really miss much work. So in reality, they're the type of employee that every employer looks for. It's kind of hard to believe that somebody can be such a great employee, but also be suffering from a learning disorder at the same time. The second thing I want to discuss with you today is the fact that Asperger's is often misdiagnosed with other psychiatric disorders, such as schizophrenia, but at the same time, it's very common for it to coexist with depression, anxiety, or mood disorders. In an article written by Lee Wilkinson, the author stated, "It is important for adults who are referred with social problems and depression to be screened for Asperger's, and on the other hand, it's very important for adults with Asperger's to be carefully evaluated for the presence of anxiety and other mood disorders." It's very important that as soon as your child shows signs and symptoms of Asperger's disorder, that you get them screened. They have a definitive criteria for diagnosing children, but once that child becomes an adult, it's a lot harder to get a definitive diagnosis for them. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is the level of intelligence that can be displayed by individuals with Asperger's. One of the major differences between Asperger's and autism is the lack of a language and speech delay. If you have a child, they're 2 or 3 years old and they haven't started talking yet, your first thought is going to be that they could be autistic. But in children with Asperger's, they don't have that. They start talking and developing seemingly like everybody else. When tested for cognitive intelligence, individuals with Asperger's scored higher than other individuals on the autism spectrum. Another test that can be given is the simultaneous and successive process, and this is the way that our brain organizes and processes information. And they score higher on this test than even people with normal brain development. So that could be a reason why they are considered such good employees. High fluid intelligence is also a trait that can be found in individuals with Asperger's, and this is their ability to memorize patterns, really good memory, and the ability to recognize complex patterns that me and you would just overlook. So the fact that there's so many differences between autism and other Asperger's disorders is a big reason why it's easily overlooked and hard to detect. I have a chart here that the top is going to be Asperger's syndrome, and the bottom is children with autism. And this is their general classroom setting. So the dark blue is that they're in all special ed classes. So you can see children with autism, more than half of them are in all special ed classes. And only 12% of them are in all regular classes. That's the lighter blue color right there. Now when you look at individuals with Asperger's, only 12% of individuals with Asperger's are in all special ed classes. But 45%, almost half, are completely mainstream. So they showed no signs, they didn't get diagnosed, and they're completely mainstream in school. So we talked about the fact that Individuals with Asperger's are employed in various occupations and they tend to be great employees. We've talked about the fact that Asperger's can be misdiagnosed and often coexist with other psychiatric disorders. And we've talked about the level of intelligence that can be displayed by individuals with Asperger's. So I hope with all of this information, us as parents and family members can be more aware and pay close attention to our children and our family members, because with Asperger's syndrome, the key to treating and overcoming it is early diagnosis.